So for all of you, my name is Kim Green. I am the program director at Mount Cuba. So we're hosting the program tonight. Mr. Owocki is oh goodness, is a associate for Mount Cuba. He is also a professor at the University of Delaware. And he is going to read for you this evening some books that he has written for his granddaughter.
Okay, so this book is called Big Stars for a Little Star, and it's for my other granddaughter. Her name is Eva. This is a ball of very hot gas, a big giant sol with a whole lot of mass. So first, stars are basically big balls of gas, including our sun. Sol is another name for our sun. And this star, however, is much bigger and much more mass, has much more matter than our sun. It's a heavy hot star shining so bright you can see from afar, at least when it's night. So when you look through the telescopes, you're seeing stars. Sometimes they're much brighter than our sun, except that they're so far away. Sometimes they have much more energy coming off of them than our sun. So that's what makes it so bright, but it's so far away that you can only see it when the sun isn't out. Now the light from this star also pushes the gas. Like a super hot car, it makes it go fast. So actually light can push on matter, and it pushes matter away from this star. It's so bright that the light actually pushes material from the star, stuff from the star, and it just goes really fast. Matter of fact, the gas from the top is lost into space, and it never does stop. It just keeps on its pace. Now, it's kind of like a wind, and this wind is like a shroud. It casts the star in big trouble. In the neighboring cloud, it just blows a big bubble. So you've all blown bubbles before. Well, it turns out stars, when they have these winds, they blow bubbles in all the gas that surrounds the stars. The stars actually are made out of that gas that collapses together by gravity. And when you have a stellar wind, it makes these beautiful bubbles. This is a real picture. This is a kind of a nice illustration. This is a real picture of a bubble that a star's wind has blown into the gas around it. As the top layers are shred, the core starts to shrink. As it loses its head, ever smaller to slim. So stars have insides called cores and outsides. The top layers, the outsides, get lost into space, but the core actually gets smaller and shrinks down, pulled together by gravity. So it's kind of like the snowman that sort of pulls his head off. It's a silly. It still is a ball, but not nearly so massive. It's gotten quite small, but hardly as passive. So it's lost a lot of its stuff, but it's now about to do something pretty amazing. Because inside this core, the atoms are pushed. Look at the little atoms all getting pushed together, making one out of more. They really get smushed. These atoms get pushed so much together that they start to merge into one, kind of like this little girl stomping on the grapes, pushing them, making them, mushing them all together. Onward this goes till the core gets so heavy that downward it flows like the break of a levee. A levee is a barrier that holds back water, and if the barrier breaks, the water rushes out. And here's Eva with her doggy running on the water. As its inside implodes, then bounces back over, the star just explodes, a collapse supernova. Stars like this that are so big will actually die by a big, gigantic explosion called a supernova. This is an actual picture of a star that exploded as a supernova about 1,000 years ago. This spits complex atoms out of space. Where with eons of add-ons, they made your cute face. So the atoms, the complex atoms that make up our world came from these kind of explosions. And they made it possible for the world that we have, including us, including your cute face. They were all once inside of an exploding star, eons or billions of years ago. Thus, big stars helped you become what you are. So are reborn anew in you, little star. So this is kind of the most amazing thing about astronomy. We think about astronomy as looking up in the sky and seeing all the stars are so far away. You have to eat all those jelly beans just to get to reach them. But in reality, the stars are not just out there; they're inside of us. The stuff that made us possible, our world possible, came from stars. I think that's pretty cool. So here's a picture of Eva now with myself. I call her my little star. Judgy is that's how that DZI is a Polish name for grandpa. And my ancestors were Polish, so I still like to use that. So that's the end of that.